The rain came down in Port Charles the way it always did when secrets were about to surface, soft at first, then relentless. Willow Corinthos stood outside General Hospital, fingers clenched around her phone, watching the reflection of the lights shimmer on the wet pavement. She'd spent her life making impossible choices, but this one had weight. This one had names. Danny, Scout, Wiley. Inside the hospital, Monica's wing hummed with quiet urgency. Danny Morgan sat on the edge of a chair, knees bouncing, trying to look older than he felt. Scout Kane hovered nearby, brave chin lifted, eyes too knowing for a kid her age. They were siblings in everything but time, connected by blood, divided by circumstance, and both were waiting for answers adults seemed afraid to give. Willow took a breath and stepped inside. The deal hadn't started as a deal. It began with a question from Danny, whispered in the hallway after a charity event. Why can't Scout and I be together, like really together, not just visits? Willow had smiled then, the kind of smile that buys time. It's complicated, but complications have a way of demanding clarity. The truth was simple and brutal. The legal web binding the kids' lives had tightened again. A new custody challenge loomed, one that threatened to scatter them farther apart unless a specific condition was met. Wiley's status, his stability, his placement, had become the keystone. Without Wiley secured in Willow's care, Danny and Scout's reunification would be delayed indefinitely, maybe forever. And somehow, Willow had become the hinge on which it all turned. I didn't ask for this, Willow said now, standing in the family room as Michael paced. His jaw was tight, eyes shadowed. But they're saying if I don't step up for Wiley, formally, legally, then the courts won't even consider the petition to reunite Danny and Scout. Michael stopped pacing. So they're holding the kids hostage? They're calling it best interests, Willow replied softly. They always do. Across the room, Danny pretended not to listen. Scout pretended even harder. Kids were experts at that, until they weren't. Scout broke first. Is this about Wiley? The room went still. Willow knelt so they were eye level. It's about all of you, she said honestly, about keeping families together. Danny's brows knit. But Wiley's not our brother. No, Willow agreed, but he's family, and sometimes family is bigger than blood. Scout exchanged a look with Danny, the kind siblings develop when they've shared too many quiet worries. So if Wiley stays with you, we get to stay together? Willow swallowed. That's what they're saying. Silence stretched. The rain outside intensified, tapping against the windows like impatient fingers. Danny stood. Then do it. Michael spun around. Danny! It's okay, Danny insisted, shoulders squared. Wiley's a kid. He deserves someone who won't leave. And if that means Scout and I get to be siblings for real, he shrugged, trying for casual. Seems fair. Willow's eyes burned. Kids shouldn't have to be this brave. But Port Charles had never been gentle with its children. Later that night, Willow sat alone with Wiley's favorite stuffed dinosaur on her lap, the tiny green fabric worn thin from love. She remembered the first time Wiley had laughed, how it sounded like a promise. She'd also promised herself she wouldn't make choices out of fear again. This wasn't fear. This was resolve. The next morning, the courthouse buzzed with whispers. Faces familiar and wary watched as Willow signed her name, each letter steady. The agreement wasn't perfect. It never was. But it was binding, protective, and, most importantly, clear. When the judge nodded, a door cracked open. Weeks passed in cautious hope. Social workers visited, evaluations were filed. Through it all, Danny and Scout clung to the possibility like a secret talisman. Wiley thrived under Willow's care, his laughter filling the house in a way that healed more than it hurt. Then came the call. Scout answered the phone, listened, and let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. Danny, she breathed, covering the receiver. They said yes. Danny froze. Yes? They said we can live together. The house erupted. Michael's stunned grin, Willow's ands flying to her mouth, Wiley bouncing because everyone else was bouncing. In that moment, the deal transformed into something else entirely. It became a bridge. That night, Willow tucked Wiley into bed and paused at the doorway. From down the hall, she heard Danny and Scout arguing over whose turn it was to choose the movie. Ordinary. Perfect. She knew there would be consequences. There always were. But for now, siblings were reunited, a family reshaped not just by law, but by choice. Outside, the rain finally stopped. Port Charles exhaled, and Willow, for the first time in a long while, believed that doing the right thing, no matter how complicated, could still lead to something beautiful.